Hello, it's good to be back with you again. I'm continuing my new series on Nina's stories. Today I was at the funeral of a very, very dear friend. He was like a brother to me, and it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony, worship and praise. But the reason that I'm telling you that is because Gary always encouraged me to share my stories. And he kept saying, Nina, you need to write a book. And he keeps saying, or at least write them down. And so with the help of my friend Dawn, who is my videographer, I'm getting that done. So this is the second in a series. I'm planning to do several more. I have 3 more planned after today, and we'll just see where it goes. What I wanted to remember and talk about today is Germany and my impressions of Germany, in the differences that I saw between America and Germany when I first went to live in Germany. And it was, it's one of the cleanest countries that you'd ever see. They work hard to keep their country clean. The women of the village where I lived got out every day and swept down the steps, and some of them even washed the concrete in front of their building. This was a normal thing that they did every day. But then one day it was raining really hard, and we lived right by the fire station. It was across the street and down a block, but we could hear when the fire engines came in and went out, and the fire engines came out, so we were looking out the window to see where they were going in this bad rain. Well, the lady across the street from us owned a hardware store, and she was out on the second floor of her building, leaning out the window with a long brush, and she was scrubbing the top of their neon sign. That is really keeping the place clean. But you were responsible for your part of the sidewalk in front of your house. If it snowed, it was your responsibility to remove the snow. And if it snowed more, then you had to get that out of the way. They wouldn't let anything stay, which made it safe to walk. But that was one of the things that I remembered, and one of the things that I thought was very peculiar when I saw her in the rain with a brush cleaning the top of her neon sign. And I thought that was really thinking things through and using the things she had. But the balconies in Germany weren't really for sitting out with a lawn chair like we do here. Their balconies were very practical, and one of the things that they had a hook on the outside of the balcony on the wall, and when they had been out to eat or to an event, they would hang their clothes out on that hook because they smelled like smoke. Because everywhere you went, every restaurant, there was not a no smoking section. And you came out of that place, your hair smelled like smoke, your clothes smelled like smoke. And the Germans didn't have a huge wardrobe because they didn't have any place to put it, because they don't have big closets like we do here. And they would have what you call a Schrank, and it was like our old wardrobes that we had when my grandmother was alive. And they had just a few articles of clothing. Every year, they would buy an article of clothing, which was very expensive. I found their clothes to be really expensive. I would come home on furlough and go to Walmart and buy something cheap for my clothes because I couldn't afford the German clothes unless they were on really good sale. So anyway, they would hang their clothes out to air from the smoke in the restaurant. And then in the winter time, at Christmas time, you could see on these large apartment buildings, you could see Christmas trees bundled up with wire or rope hanging over the balcony. And they did that. They bought the tree earlier, and they did that because they only put up their tree on Christmas Eve. And so it would stay on the balcony until the Christmas Eve, and then they would put it up. And most Germans, and I remember Holland as well, celebrated Christmas or gift giving on December 7th, I think it was, it was Saint Nicholas Day, and he's the one who brought the presents. And Christmas Eve was the birth of Christ, and they celebrated Jesus' birth. And I found this out, maybe it was my first or my second Christmas in Germany. I went to Holland. A wonderful family. I taught several of their children. Loved that family. And they invited me for Christmas. Well, on Christmas Eve, I came bopping down the stairs. Well, you don't bop down the stairs in Holland because they're straight up and down and very thin. So I came down carefully from the stairs and had my presents for everybody, and I slipped them under the tree. Well, there wasn't anything else under the tree. And so they said, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, I came to celebrate Christmas with you. These are your gifts." And they said, "Oh, we don't give gifts on Christmas Eve. That's Jesus' birthday." And I said, "Okay." And went back to my room after our meal and my gift giving and cried the rest of the night because I was homesick and I wanted my Christmas tree and I wanted my presents and I wanted my family. And it was a really hard time for me, but they were very gracious. They never knew that I was upset or that I was homesick. I just cried when I went to my room. So anyway, that's about the balconies. They would put planters out there, or they would store things out there. And the wonderful thing about balconies, or if you didn't have balconies, then the window ledge, was our refrigerator in the wintertime, because their refrigerators are about a little bit shorter than my chair here, and about